Hello, everyone. Phil Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. Today is the 5th of January, 2023. Click on the subscribe button below here to subscribe to future episodes, and also that notification bell in the far upper right. If you click on the notification bell, they will notify you when the new episodes are released. That's the way YouTube does it. I don't know why you have to do it twice, but that's what they do. That's what they require. So the topic today is in defense of the native born. Let me pull up my notes on that and get started. Immigration is good, particularly when people with higher skills are brought into the country. The founders of Google and Zoom are two examples. Google co-founder Sergey Brin arrived in the United States from Russia as a 6-year-old. Zoom co-founder Eric Yuan applied 9 times for a visa before arriving in Silicon Valley at age 27 to work for WebEx, even though he spoke very little English. Yuan, and to a lesser extent Brin, provide the type of inspirational stories we often associate with immigrants. Such narratives play into the qualities that Westerners instinctively admire: ambition and a willingness to make sacrifices to accomplish a long-term goal, the uphill fight of the underdog, the extra work required to climb out of poverty. Indeed, Yuan and Brin should be inspiration for those of us, white and black and Hispanic, white and black and Hispanic, who don't appreciate being born in America. Let me repeat that. Indeed, Yuan and Brin should be inspiration for those of us, white or black, who don't appreciate being born in America. Thus, controlled immigration based upon merit and abided regulations is good for America, but mass immigration of illegal aliens is a different matter. When people arrive from elsewhere in large numbers, they tend to settle into enclaves and minimize participation in the culture of their new country. They don't assimilate and thereby shred the social fabric necessary for national unity. It's time to listen to the complaints of the native born who object to the diminution of our culture because nobody is sticking up for them. The cultural elite dismiss their complaints because the narrative deck is stacked against them, since they did not have to swim or hike their way into this country with little more than the clothes they arrived in. The native born are deemed unqualified to offer an inspiring story about overcoming unfair adversity. The media relentlessly tells them their uncomfortable feelings about the fragmentation of American culture means that they are racist. Many people feel they have no right to even be faintly perturbed about such changes. In truth, most societies resent changes because nationhood requires a common culture. It is not merely a Western trait or a white man's trait. It is a human trait that if you have a group of people and a majority within a defined territory that is invaded by a gigantic number of people from elsewhere, they don't like it. It has nothing to do with race. In 1983, Nigeria deported 2 million West African Ghanaians. All 180,000 work permits for Zimbabweans in South Africa expired this week. Kenyans resent Somalian immigrants, and Colombians don't like the many Venezuelans who are coming in from that failed communist state. Finally, Mexicans resent American retirees who are moving into the nation's attractive beach communities and driving out the locals by increasing property prices. The Mexicans also dislike the American immigrants' tendency to live among themselves, speak English to one another, and establish local economies that cater to their characteristic purchasing habits, which were previously not so common in Mexico. They resent how much the Americans have transformed their communities, even though the arrival of the Americans brought relative prosperity. An improved economy is one thing, but it's another thing when you notice that few people in the town where you grew up are speaking your language. It's unnerving to realize that the transformation happened without anyone asking you about it. The West is not being anthropologically abnormal. Humans are highly territorial and political everywhere. Expecting white Westerners to especially celebrate the shrinkage of their own culture and the diminution of it is not only fair, it is illogical. A country that is destroying the statues of its historic heroes is in the process of shattering itself by failing to appreciate the accomplishments of those who preceded us. Even when they made America the most powerful nation in the country and the so-called shining city on the hill for the rest of the world. Okay, I just can't, I'm, kind of befuddled by all the people that are coming out of school now, and particularly the colleges, that want to hate America. They can't see there's a good side to the history. And again, I'll repeat, how could we have become the most prominent, dominant country, well, let's say the leading country in the world, if the people that had preceded us hadn't got something right? But all that we hear from academia now is tear them down, tear them down. Okay, so let me go ahead and share with you a book that I think is important. If you really want to understand American history, the Civil War is central to it. And understanding the Civil War means you really got to get away from the academic historians of today, because they have become biased as much as they condemn earlier historians of promoting a mythology of the lost cause. They are now promoting the mythology of what I call the pious cause, which means that everything the North did was right and everything the South did is evil. But this book, Causes of the Civil War, is going to give you a good, firm background in understanding what really caused the Civil War. And the key difference here is I look at not only how the South contributed to it, but how the North contributed to it. What is it that they did that led to the war? And you're going to see that their motives are not the noble motives that they commonly espouse today. So anyway, the book is $22 at Amazon and other fine bookstores. If you want an autographed copy of Causes of the Civil War from me, it's $26. Just email me, Phil, PHIL _Leigh, LEINGH at me.com, me.com. Okay, that's our show for today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.